It's Paul Marsh here on Express, and I am delighted to say that I'm joined by England legend Carly Telford. Carly, thank you so much for talking to me.
Thank you so much, Paul. Absolute pleasure to be here.
We're going to be talking about women being enticed back to sport after a bumper summer of events. It really has been not only a phenomenal summer, but it's been a phenomenal sort of 3 or 4 years, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been incredible. I think this summer, particularly, I think for the first time ever, it was a lot of the sport was on mainstream media, which made it so accessible and so easy to kind of take part in and want to be part of. Even myself, I remember switching from kind of like the World Cup on the morning and then going into like Wimbledon, and then the cricket was on. It was just kind of like, oh, this is great. Like you can just like, which you usually do with men's sport, but it was just this summer, it was like so accessible with women's as well. So it was just so nice to be able to have that access and kind of watch sport how it should be and enjoy it.
Now, obviously, one of the things is I could be wrong with this, but I've noticed that the women's World Cups and events are all on odd years away from the men's sports. Is that correct? Would I be right in saying that?
Yeah, I think so. Whether it was done intentionally originally and then it kind of all got a bit skewed with COVID. So yeah, they do kind of tend to run opposites. For that reason alone, it's very hard to compete, and especially with TV rights globally and nationally. So I think it makes sense for them to do that.
Yeah, I think that works really, really well. And I think I've got a young daughter who's 10 and a young boy who's 5 years old. And we love any events, whether it's men's World Cup, women's World Cup, Olympics, Wimbledon, whatever it is,
Yeah,
we love getting involved into those sports. So when the Women's World Cup, obviously this summer, getting up nice and early to watch that, which was always nice.
I can imagine it.
Exactly. Yeah. And we sit there as a family and we had our breakfast and we watched all of these games and everything else like that. And it was really nice, like you say, that there wasn't so much of a competition with all of these things on at the same time. They all had their own little slots. And it's nice that we can support everything, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely, and I think that's not to say that like traditionally people wouldn't have switched on like to the Women's World Cup. But I think that if you're a sports someone who loves sports like
Yeah.
yourselves, like your family like yourselves, like you tend to just have an affinity to if there's any sport on to just have it on. And I know what I'm like. I'll put anything on in the background. Sometimes I'm just cooking and I'll have another Bundesliga on or whatever. I'm not even really paying attention, but it's on. And if there's multiple things you can get on and get involved in, and like say you make it like whether it's a family event or it's a community event or a school, like when the kids went back to school, it's like, have you got like little like what? Well, who are you going to plot to get to the final? Like there's all kind of things you can get involved in with sport, and that's the beautiful thing about it. But I think it was just so nice that so many families like yourself, especially because it was on early in the morning, and if you had any young kids that get up at the crack of dawn at 6, 7 o'clock, I think parents were just kind of like switching the footy on and just letting them spend all morning watching back-to-back football games, which is incredible because again for young kids, like gender's not, it doesn't really exist for them until they get older, and as the social kind of things that they're delved into. So when they're so young, they just know it's football, so they're just watching it and consuming it, and that's how they get inspired to be, oh well, we see whether you're a young girl like your daughter and it's like, wow, she looks like me or has the same story as me or lives in the same part of the country as me or whatever it is, and then they get their affiliation with the girls, and then that's how they kind of become invested and inspired, which is a really nice story to have.
I think that there are many ways that people get invested in sports, and if being swept up in in the spirit of everything is one of those, then I'm
Yeah.
all for that, and that's absolutely fantastic. So I think it was a couple of years ago at Euros when England played Northern Ireland at St Mary's. We took the family to that one, and both of my kids, I won't say they're sport mad, but they kind of take a general interest in them. But
Yeah.
being there at the stadium, singing the songs and the Mexican waves and all of that kind of thing. Then when the rest of the games were on TV, we sat and watched them because they had that connection with it.
Yeah. Well, that's the bit, like that's the thing with sport. It's about that emotional connection, isn't it? Whether it's with a team or an athlete or a nation or a club or whatever it is, but creating that kind of emotional attachment where like you feel like you don't want to miss out or you have to watch or you want that feeling again, whether it's where you were there in the stadium, you're with your family or your friends and you just had a great time or whatever, or so then you go home and you find out when it's on next, so you can book to go again, or you just, right, okay, we can't, so we're going to watch it on TV as a family, and we'll cook dinner and we'll sit around and have a takeaway, or we'll indulge in it that way. But it's creating that kind of emotional connection, which sport is one of the most emotionally engaging things I think you can have as a fan of either, like say, a person or a team. Is like, it will take you on a roller coaster, and I think it teaches you so many different things, and that's why I think as parents probably want their kids to help to be involved with sport, because it teaches them so many things, like, which gives them skills for life, I think, but also like it can help inspire, it can help them go on a journey and make them feel part of something, which is also something as parents probably we all want our kids to feel, is that they're part of something bigger than themselves.
Now, obviously, we're talking a lot about kids and families and everything else like that. However, it can also have a really, really positive effect on people like myself, who are not, possibly my best years are a little bit behind me. However, you have that. Yeah, believe me, they are. That whole nostalgia, you can watch Wimbledon, see Emma Raducanu doing well at the US Open and everything else like that. And somebody who's played tennis, maybe they haven't played in 5 years or something, and they have that nostalgic feeling of, I want to get out there on the court again.
Yeah, that's the thing is, and one of the pieces and the reasons we're here to talk is that a big piece of research that Sure have done is kind of investigating into what has been the impact of all this kind of like impact throughout all the kind of competitions we've been watching all the summer. And one of the stats that they found was that 59% of women who have not played sport before or played previously have gone back into sport, which is incredible if you think 60% of women that used to play probably when they were a lot younger stopped playing for multiple years. We're talking like 20, 30 years. And then have watched this summer, whether it's their kids have wanted to play or whether they've just been inspired by a female athlete or a female team, have then decided to go back into their local communities and join a team or join a club. Yeah. It's incredible because as well, like, imagine what that does for that person that sat and kept all that inside, that as much as they wanted to, they didn't know how to, or didn't feel empowered or confident enough to do it. And now they're just like on a whatever weeknight they decide to go, they go and join a club, or a weekday and they go and have a kick around with their mates or chuck a rugby ball around or play a bit of paddle. I don't know, whatever they're up to, but it must make them feel so powerful, so confident, and just that they've gone back into it later in life as well, which must be difficult. But it just shows what having female sport on mainstream TV can do, and that's how it can empower people. And I just think having that's been hugely inspirational. And it is nice to speak to lots of mums when I go to some events with young kids, and they're talking about how they created their own little group because they watched their kids play, and then they were like, well, wait, there were like 15 mums here that we all love football, we probably all used to play, and they just started their own five-a-side team, and now they're in like some sort of like power league, like they play every Wednesday night. It's honestly, it's inspirational, it's quality, but they absolutely love it. And there's no shame in it either. And I just think why would you not want to get together, a group of lasses, you've worked all day, you've probably got the kids like to tea and or put them to bed, and then you go out and have an hour with your mates and a kickabout and just talk about general life and what you've all been up to. It's great.
Now, Carly, if somebody's listening to this interview right now and they're feeling inspired by what we're talking about, and they're similar situation to me, maybe they played sport a long time ago and they haven't done it now, and they want to get back involved in something, where can they do that?
Okay, so like I said earlier, Sure had done a massive piece of research, but what's the beauty about Sure is that they've actually gone and then followed it up with a program that you can access. So it's amazing that you're inspired, but what do you do next? So we have this conversation, it sounds cool, or you've watched someone on TV and you think, oh, I'd just love to. So if you go onto their Instagram, at Sure Sport UK, there's a load of information on there on what they're doing right now, what they'll do in the future, and what they've done previously. There's loads of information. Their website, suredeodorant.co.uk, that also has a lot of information on here, but one of their main bits of information, and this is the part of outreach, is the Breaking Limits program, which has it's gone off the back of the FIFA Women's World Cup. There's loads of modules on there. Girls can play football. It's a big part of what they want to help people achieve and give confidence, empowerment to young girls, but also the older generation that just want to get back into it. So if you've got some aspiring young lionesses, they can go on there as well and get some amazing content. But also, if you are older and you just think, you know what it is, I just want to play the game, I love the game so much, you can go on there and find ways to get back involved, because there's anything from coaching to teaching to community events and just ways to play the game if that's what you want to do. But yeah, there's lots of information on there, so please do have a look if you have been inspired. More women that are playing football, the better. It doesn't matter how old you are, where you're from, what you're doing. Just get down and play the beautiful game.
Carly, thank you so much for talking to me. I really, really do appreciate it. And just before I leave you, come on, England. Yeah. Come on, England.
Yeah, come on, England.
Come on, England. Carly, thank you so much for talking to me. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks so much, Paul. Take care.